All right, the setup for this first question is that I am taking a trip from Minneapolis, Minnesota, down Interstate 35 to Des Moines, and then east over to Chicago on Interstate 80. And if you look at a map, this is pretty much a right triangle. It's a right angle anyway to start with. You're basically going straight south and straight east. Okay, it's 180 miles driving from Minneapolis to Des Moines. It's 300 miles driving from Des Moines to Chicago. What I want to know is if I take an airplane, okay, I leave the airport in Minnesota and Minneapolis, I go straight to O'Hare Airport in Chicago. How many miles is this trip right here? That's what I want to know. So if I look at what I have here, I have 180 and 300 miles. So the total trip here in the car is going to be 480 miles. Okay, now obviously it'll be faster with an airplane, but I want to know the mileage. Okay, and for an airplane, you're just going to take a direct route from Minneapolis to Chicago. Since this makes a right triangle, I can use this Pythagorean theorem. So I want you to take some time, use the Pythagorean theorem in your notebook, and figure out how far this airplane trip would be from Minneapolis to Chicago. This would be your hypotenuse because it's across from the right angle, and we would also call this side C. Take a little bit of time to get this accomplished. Alright, if you've unpaused the video now, we're going to go through how this works and what the answer is. So using the Pythagorean theorem, we know that this side we could call A, so we'll do 180 to the second power. Now you could have used that as B, it's going to be the same thing. Over here we've got 300 to the second power, and it all should come out to be C to the second power. So if we do these problems, and I'm just going to use my calculator, 180 to the second power would just be 180 times 180. That's 32,400. Plus whatever 300 to the second power is. 300 to the second power is just going to be 300 times itself, 300 times 300, and we get 90,000. Add those together, 32,400 plus 90,000, and we are going to get 122,400. Now, I would recommend just using a calculator to find the square root. We got to find a number that you can times by itself to get 122,400 if you times it by itself. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that there's probably not a whole number that's going to get it done. So it's going to be close to something. Okay, so in my calculator, I am just going to do square root button. And I'm going to do 122,400 and see what I come up to get. What I get is 349.857, some other numbers. Okay, that meant that there's not a whole number that you can times by itself to get this, which is okay. We'll just round this. Okay, 349 miles. We've got an 8 right here, so if we want to go to the nearest whole number, we'd go over here. We're looking at the 8. Oop, got this backwards here. This is the number we're changing. Go over here. We want to round this number up because that's an 8, so we're rounding this up. 8 would go to 9, which would make that a 5. So our final answer is going to be right around 350 miles in the air from Minneapolis to Chicago, Illinois.